behalf of the other Vietnam veteran in the crowd besides me, we thank you.
And welcome in. And welcome in, Ohio Bobcat fans, on a beautiful Friday afternoon. It's time for Ohio soccer as the Bobcats get set to play host to the Central Michigan Chippewas. Hello again, everybody. Brandon Monty with you alongside Samantha Garcia. And with first touch just moments away, let's look at the starting lineups. First, for the visiting Central Michigan Chippewas, coached by Jeremy Groves, assistants Ian Collins, Taylor Zimmerman, and Taylor Stevens. Lauren DeBow and Natalie Belcito are the forwards, and the midfielders, Marl Bringard, Sheila Magnin, Cassidy Pettinger, and Maddie West. On the defensive line, Alina Miakova, Maria Kashuk, Amanda Britton, and Ali Vizenko. And then goalkeeping for the Chippewas, a redshirt senior, Zoe Reed. For the Ohio Bobcats, coached by Aaron Rodgers, it'll be Abby Townsend and Courtney Dagerdas. Midfielders Sydney Leckie, Olivia Molesky, Serena Dierig, and Jenny Santa Catarina. The defenders, Morgan Kalika, Victoria Breeden, Paige Knorr, and Olivia Sensky. And rounding things out for the green and white, goalkeeping, a 5'10 junior from Nashville, Tennessee, Sydney Malim.
Yeah, and Ohio's going to need a really good start to this game. We've talked about so many times how Ohio is more a second-half team, getting most of their goals in the second half, but Central Michigan's defense and goalie is probably one of the best here in the MAC. They have only allowed 8 goals in the season, and we are, 14 games in? So I'm excited to see how this turns out here, Brandon.
Pivotal matchup for both squads today. Central Michigan enters today's contest 7-2-2, 4-2 in Mid-American Conference play. That's good for third in the MAC. As for the Ohio Bobcats, they are 7-6-1, 2-3-1 in conference play. That is good for seventh. The Ohio Bobcats wearing their white uniforms with green outline. For Central Michigan, their maroon uniforms with gold lettering and numbering. Abby Townsend will kick off in first touch, and we're just about set for soccer here at Chessa Field.
And you see here, Brandon, it's kind of a different lineup than we've had recently here at Chessa. Aaron Rodgers kind of switching up the offense a little bit, and how we talked about at the beginning of the season, Ohio started off 5-0 before conference play, so this was the lineup that they had, so I'm thinking they're trying to start that back up again.
First touch to the Bobcats, and we are underway. Serena Dierig now to Dagerdas. Quickly on the attack is Ohio. Here's Sydney Leckie now inside the right side of the 18-yard box, fires a shot, and it's deflected out of bounds. A corner coming up for the Ohio Bobcats. Their 68th corner of the year. They are even in corners this year, 68 against them as well. As doing the honors in the corners will be Paige Knorr, a 5'8 junior from Cincinnati, Ohio.
And like we said, Brandon, Ohio's such an offensive team. Already in the first 20 seconds, a corner kick here.
Knorr raises her left arm, boots the corner with her left foot. It's on the way just outside the 6-yard box. It's headed out of the box, though, but recovered by Leckie. Here's Sensky now on the left side of the box. Pester by the Chippewas, now to Leckie. Leckie regroups in the left corner. Here's Knorr. Knorr boots it inside the 6-yard box. The header is in, and it's in the back of the net. What a beautiful offensive play for the Cats. The header is in for Olivia Molesky on the dive. She's 4th in the MAC in goals and adds to that total her 7th of the season. And just 1 minute into this match, Ohio has a 1-0 advantage.
We had just talked about under 2 minutes ago, Brandon, how amazing this Central Michigan defense is. And for Ohio to come out, and what a beautiful play there.
A beautiful delivery, too, by Olivia Sensky. Her 2nd assist of the year. As mentioned, Molesky's 7th goal. And just 1.5 minutes in, Ohio is out to a 1-0 lead. As Central Michigan tries to get back on the attack. There's number 13, Lauren DeBow, spooted away. And Samantha, the Bobcats have not been a team that has normally started off well. We were talking about before the match, they've been a second-half team all season. In fact, that's just the 4th goal for Ohio in the first half of games this year, and they're back on the attack. Here's Dagerdas. And a Serena Dierig. Leckie enters into the box, but it's swallowed up by Zoe Reed, who entered today the top goalkeeper in the Mid-American Conference, led the conference in save percentage, saves, and goals allowed.
Yeah, I don't think that stat really affected the Bobcats here. As you can tell, they came out with all of legs pumping right here in the first couple minutes. So you can tell that I think they're trying to turn into a first-half team here.
There's one thing about Ohio's last matchup against Buffalo. 14 of their 17 shots came in the second half. Didn't get off to a fast start on the offensive side. As we mentioned, they've been a second-half team all year. But they're up 1-0 here early on against a Central Michigan team, currently third in the MAC. Ohio 7th. Every matchup pivotal from here on out. Central Michigan now. Sheila Magnan. And it's taken away by the Bobcats. Serena Dierig. Dierig tries to enter. Townsend giving chase. It's boot away. Now to Paige Knorr. Townsend in the left corner. Townsend looking to cross, but lost it out of bounds.
And you could see how Abby Townsend, she leads the team with 8 assists here, and you could see how important she is on those wing sides. A lot of times the Bobcats look for her in those corners to make those long strides because, man, can she sprint down this grass.
Townsend, one of the better players on this Ohio roster, a 2018 All-MAC freshman team member, is 17th in all of Division I in assists, and she now has possession here. It's taken away by the Chippewas as they try to get it to Alina Miakova, but it's lost out of bounds. Miakova of Central Michigan, a member of the Russian national team. Played in 3 friendlies for Russia this past year. Central Michigan with it. Here's Miakova.
And you could see Marley Bringard there out there for Central Michigan wearing a face mask. She's struggled with an injury kind of at the beginning of this season and was medically redshirted last year. So this season, I think she's really wants to get back out on the field, and you could see here that she's not scared to get a little contact.
Should be a physical game. It's a Central Michigan team that has prided itself on physical defense all season. And speaking of physical defenders, Victoria Breeden clears to Sydney Malim. Breeden, a yellow card in the last match for Ohio in the 71st minute. Central Michigan on the attack on the left side. The cross is in. This is Bringard. Bringard tries a shot. It's deflected. And the foul is called. And possession back to Ohio.
And Central Michigan hasn't looked like they've had a lot of very clear possessions here on offense. Ohio kind of making them a little bit worried, even though Bringard, she has 5 goals and 2 assists here on the season. Looks like she's having a little bit of trouble here in these first couple minutes.
And midfielders Lecky. Townsend and Amanda Britton fighting for it. And the Chippewas, as good as they've been on defense, haven't been the best offensive team. 9th in the MAC in shots on goal per game, 6th in goals. They've scored 16 goals this year, have allowed 8, now 9, after the phenomenal header from Olivia Molesky just 1 minute into this contest.
But like we had mentioned, Brandon, before coming off that 2-0 loss against Buffalo, and before that a 1-1 tie at Akron, and even before that getting a 1-3 loss against Bowling Green, I just think Ohio wants a win here. And you can see here at Chessa just the amount of energy that they have come out with. You see Olivia Sensky, even on that goal, she was attacking in the upper thirds of this offensive side, just showing how all the girls kind of want some action here, and they want to win.
Certainly do, and head coach Aaron Rodgers for the Bobcats has talked about all week how it's been a phenomenal week of practice for this team. They've gotten a lot better, especially yesterday. They said they've worked very hard. It's obviously a very important weekend for Ohio, their final 2 home games of the season. They host Eastern Michigan back here at Chessa Field on Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock. Those games obviously very important as the Bobcats vying for MAC position. Entrance now into the box is headed out of bounds by Santa Catarina as possession back to Central Michigan. 38 minutes remaining here in the first half of play. Ohio leading 1-0 over Central Michigan. Also worth mentioning on that corner, that was the first goal off of a corner for the Bobcats this season. As the goalkeeper, Zoe Reed, boots it down the field. Uhrig gets it to Leckie. Now Townsend fights off Amanda Britton, has it on the left side. Townsend with it, tries to enter the cross. It's booted out of bounds by Central Michigan's Natalie Belcito. Townsend. Uhrig shoots from outside the box, and it's deflected. It's just to the left of the post, is now seeing some frustration from Chippewa goalkeeper Zoe Reed, barking to her defenders. Hasn't had the best of afternoons thus far. An uncharacteristic game for the redshirt senior thus far. It's another corner coming up for the Bobcats. Abby Townsend will do the honors.
And I think just from Reed, she's expecting a little bit more from her defense here, especially since, like we have mentioned so many times, how defensively this team plays.
Townsend gives it a boot with the right foot. It's headed high into the air. Now back to Townsend. And possession stays with the Bobcats. 1-0 Ohio. 36.5 minutes to go. Townsend enters into the box, but it's deflected away by Ali Vazenko. North throws in. Here's Leckie.
And Leckie, a senior here, knowing this is one of her last games here at Chessa, you can see the energy that she has brought, especially playing Abby, who is one of the fastest on the Bobcats here, just playing with that same kind of energy that Abby possesses here.
Leckie, a phenomenal career for the Bobcats. Central Michigan take over an offside called against Ohio. Senior class being honored this weekend, Olivia Molesky, who already's had a pretty good weekend with 1 goal. Victoria Breeden, along with Leckie, Dagardas, and Allie Miller, the 5 seniors on Ohio's roster.
And I think for the seniors, they're upset that they're not going to be playing here anymore, but I think that they can walk away happy with the freshmen that have come out to play and just how important they've kind of been for this Ohio offense and defense. Some starters actually being freshmen, coming out here looking like they've been running this offense for actually a couple years.
35 minutes to play, first half. Ohio 1, Central Michigan 0. In a game with very big MAC implications. Chippewas 3rd in the Mid-American Conference, Ohio 7th. But the middle of the pack in the MAC very tight at this point. They try to get it to Miyakova. She recovers now on the left side, but it's taken away. Santa Catarina. And Uhrig, but she's depossessed by Vazenko.
And Miyakova looking like she's just struggling a little bit. We haven't been saying her name a lot here so far, although it's only been about 16 minutes here. She's having a hard time possessing that ball and keeping it at her feet. Looks like just a bunch of Bobcats trying to poke that ball away from her.
Miyakova 2nd on Central Michigan with 3 goals this season. Has possession now left side, pestered by Santa Catarina. And they say possession now to Ohio. Great defense by Santa Catarina. The 5'8 junior by way of Geneva, Illinois, was not in the starting lineup last game. It was the first time this season, but Aaron Rodgers deciding to insert her back in this time around.
And something so amazing about Santa Catarina is you see here how well she can play on defense. And the previous play before was trying to get a header on goal, and she's labeled here as a midfield, but looks like she's playing kind of all the positions here.
Well deflected out of bounds, back to Ohio.
This has definitely been a more vocal game for the Bobcats. A lot of talk on the bench. You can hear them shouting even from up here, and just a lot more communication on the field. You see Olivia Sensky kind of clapping in between plays, cheering on the girls, and I think this is the energy that they've kind of been looking for all season.
Certainly needed the energy. A 2-0 loss to Buffalo in what was a very physical game. We've seen that energy on display here. There's now the crowd getting into it. Let's go Bobcat chants emerging from the spectators here in Athens. 33 minutes left here in the first half. 1-0 Ohio. There's Kalika. Ohio with possession. 5'3" sophomore defender from Aurora. To Santa Catarina.
It looks almost like Central Michigan is kind of on their heels. They've kind of been playing flat. Not a lot of movement up front. You saw in that throw-in, not a lot of girls showing to the ball, and Ohio just feeding off kind of that dead energy.
And certainly uncharacteristic for Central Michigan. They've had a phenomenal season thus far under first-year head coach Jeremy Groves, who was a two-time Ohio Valley Conference Coach of the Year at Murray State. He's in his first season with the Chippewas. Now Ohio on possession here is Paige Knorr. Knorr enters into the box. It's picked up by Leckie. Leckie fires away with the left foot, but it's gobbled up by Zoe Reed.
And I really like that shot. Obviously, her non-dominant foot that she took with that left, but I think Erin Rogers really appreciates that. Instead of trying to bring the ball down and try and get on that dominant foot, just getting that first touch, off her chest and playing that in. I think that was a smart move, and that's how you score.
And now for Central Michigan, Miakova. On the left side, Bringer. Covered by Kalika. And Kalika dispossesses Bringer. Good defense by the 5'3" sophomore.
And Breeden, I just think for the Bobcats here, she is such an aggressive player in the best way possible. Not playing dirty, doesn't really get too many yellow cards. We haven't seen any red cards here for the Bobcats, but she just really knows how to use her body. Coming on as a senior here, she really knows how to play that defensive spot well.
Breeden, the only senior starter on defense for Ohio. Started all 14 games this year. Has really been the captain of this Bobcat defense.
And Aaron Rodgers, you see on the sideline kind of throwing his hands up, looking for a foul there for Abby, but she quickly gets up, and Ohio gets the ball back here.
Agardas tries to get down the field, but it's picked off by Kashkok. It's Kalika. Breeden. .30 minutes left, first half. Ohio still leading 1-0 after a header from Olivia Molesky found the back of the net under 1 minute into this match.
And here you can see a lot of Central Michigan. They've been playing on that far side of the field, not really spreading that ball across to try and get more of an open shape here. They look kind of flat, especially on offense, not having too much possession.
Molesky to Townsend. Townsend tries to find Leckie, led a little too far. It's booted away by Zoe Reed. Central Michigan on the attack. Here's DeBow. Fires in between the legs of Sydney Malim, and that will even this one up.
And I think Ohio just got caught there on the line. Olivia Sensky looked like she was waiting for a bounce to come, and it bounced a little bit over her head, but what a great touch by DeBow just to get right in between the legs of Malim there. Kind of threw us off course a little bit. We had not seen anything come from this Central Michigan team, but then again, that's why they are 7-2 coming into this game here.
So Lauren DeBow, the 5'4" freshman forward by way of Shelby Township, Michigan, is on the board. Gets Central Michigan on the board as this one now tied with 29.5 minutes left in the first half. Was the third goal of the season for DeBow, who entered today's match 9th in the Mid-American Conference in shots on goal. A 1-1 contest for Serena Deering.
And after that goal there, it looks like head coach Jeremy Groves made a substitution, taking off Miakova, who we thought was going to be someone very important here for the Chippewas, and you see that she comes off, so looks like they're going to put someone in to try and fill that position.
Serena Deering booted out of bounds. deflects off Central Michigan. Possession stays with the Bobcats. As we are now knotted up at 1 with a little under 29 minutes to go in the first half as Breeden gets it to Malim, who boots it down the field. Townsend, Santa Catarina. Dagardas fights for it, deflected out of bounds, possession Ohio.
And like we've talked about here, how the Bobcats have kind of shown playing almost 75-25 possession here, and Central Michigan gets the ball. Their first shot on goal actually turns out to be a goal, so you can see they do not put up many shots, but when they do, they're on target.
Central Michigan, that's really been their only attack of the afternoon thus far. Like you had mentioned, Samantha, they'd been very stagnant through the first 20 minutes of the match. They finally got a good look, and Lauren DeBow made the Bobcats pay as it's now tied at 1. Central Michigan team that has a 40% shot on goal percentage. Now Dagardas for Ohio. It's to Paige Knorr. Knorr enters to Molesky. Header is away to the right, and it's picked up by Zoe Reed. Header wasn't quite up to scratch there for Molesky. Wasn't able to get good position on it. Good entry, though, by Paige Knorr. As now Zoe Reed will boot this one away for Central Michigan.
Yeah, she was looking for her second goal here of the day, just getting her second on goal shot here with 27 minutes in. I think she might even get another one here.
Maria Kaschuk. Dispossessed by Sydney Leckie. Now to Sensky, back to Malim. And Sensky couldn't handle the kick from Malim, goes out of bounds. Miscue there for Ohio, gives possession back to Central Michigan. Kaschuk will throw in for Central Michigan. 26-26 to go, first half. Tied at 1. In the box now, here's Bringard, and a collision between Bringard and Sensky. And an infraction called against the Chippewas. Possession Ohio. Bringard has really been the main offensive weapon for Central Michigan this year. The 5'10 senior by way of Midland, Michigan, 7th in the MAC in goals, 2nd in game-winning goals with 4. 4 of her 5 goals on the year have come in conference play. She's really elevated her play since entering Mid-American Conference showdowns.
And again with Bringard, you can tell how much possession that she has had here in the Central Michigan team, especially in her freshman year in 2016. She was named to the MAC all-freshman team, so you can tell even a couple years ago how important she was to this Chippewas team.
Ohio on the attack, deflected out of bounds by Amanda Britton. Possession stays with the Bobcats with 25-20 to go, first half. As Paige Knorr, the 5'8 junior from Cincinnati, throws in. Townsend fighting for possession as Natalie Belcito just tried to clear it, but it unfortunately deflects off Townsend, and that leads to a goal kick for the Chippewas as a few players warming up on the sideline for Ohio. Aaron Rodgers possibly making some substitutions here. That's one thing about this Ohio team. They have a lot of depth, a lot of options, and Rodgers has been experimenting a bit with his lineups over these past few games as Molesky stumbles. Physical play going on near midfield. And the ref blows the whistle. And it appears an infraction against Ohio. So a free kick now for the Chippewas. Maria Kaschuk will kick for Central Michigan. Raises her right arm, readies, and boots it with her right foot. Into the 18-yard box. It's fought for and cleared by Molesky. Leckie tries to get it to Townsend, but led her too far.
And like you had mentioned before, with that depth that Aaron Rodgers has, looks like Tristan Whalen and that's Maddie Young that are warming up over there. Tristan Whalen has played in 11 games but has started none of those. She has a goal and 3 assists here in the season, so she is a very key player. And again, with Maddie Young, a name that we always talk about when she's on this field, how important she is. Again, playing 14 games, only starting 7 of those with 4 goals and 4 assists, adding 20 shots on goal on top of that. You can see how well Aaron Rodgers utilizes them on the bench and gets them with some fresh legs against maybe a tired defense.
Substitution for Central Michigan. Riley Mann, the 5'4" redshirt sophomore forward, checks in, replacing Cassidy Pettinger, who's getting her 4th start of the year. 10th game of the year for Mann is now Sydney Malim, the goal kick for Ohio. 22:50 left to go in the first half. 1-1 draw between Central Michigan and Ohio. In the left corner, here's Kalika. Kalika pestered by DeBow. And DeBow dispossesses Kalika, now enters into the 18-yard box and headed away by Paige Knorr. Katie Coleman.
And Bringard for Central Michigan, a name that we've kind of been saying a lot here. She is going up for all these headers, especially having a mask on here for an injury. She is not afraid to get out there.
Bringer not afraid, certainly. Has been one of the better offensive options for Central Michigan on the season, as we've talked about. As here's Maddie West for the Chippewas. And dispossessed, very physical defense by Dagerdas. Crowd wanted a foul, didn't get it. And now a hard shove there by DeBow to Kalika. Still no foul. Here's DeBow now at the left side of the box, fighting with Breeden, and now a lot of pushing and shoving, and several Ohio players begging to the refs for a foul call. As Lauren DeBow, the 5'4" freshman forward who has 1 goal already on the afternoon, really pushing and shoving, getting physical with the Bobcats.
And those 3 substitutions that we had are all freshmen coming in that have played such an important role here. That's Olivia Darrow. She's played in 4 games, only started 1. Again, having 2 goals. And Tristan Whalen coming in with a goal and assist, and as well as Maddie Young with 4 goals and 4 assists, only starting in half the games that she has played. Just shows how well these freshmen are and how well they're adapting, especially coming off the bench, being kind of on the back of their heels, playing against a team that has kind of gotten into the motion of how the game's played. Just shows how well these girls are. I'm really excited for these freshmen to keep growing here at Ohio.
Maddie Young has certainly had a phenomenal season. Has really been the offensive spark plug off the bench for Ohio. As you mentioned, Samantha, 4 goals, and has only started half the games on the year. Has really been that first option off the bench for Aaron Rodgers. Young had 36 goals in her career at St. Ursula, a school in Cincinnati, and has been very important to the success of this Bobcat offense. Here's Heather Mcguire. Mcguire in the left corner. Enters into the 18-yard box as ball is deflected away. Back to Mcguire. Now Central Michigan. Here's Lauren DeBow. Defended by Breeden and Kalika. Fires away, but it's saved by Malim.
And again, the very few chances that Central Michigan has kind of had on offense have kind of stemmed from DeBow. That would have been her 2nd goal in the season. And you see here a lot of pushing and shoving away from the ball. And I think the refs got to start calling something because a lot of Bobcats have gone down in the past couple minutes here.
Amanda Britton shoved Abby Townsend to the ground there. Several fans wanting a foul call. But not a lot of foul calls here in the first half. Refs really letting them play. As Ohio coming off a very physical matchup against Buffalo last time out, and more of the same this time. And you have to expect that with a team that's been as good defensively as Central Michigan has been. Maddie West, the bringer. For Ohio, here's Maddie Young. Leckie. Leckie charges down the right side. 18:35 to go, still tied at 1. As the ball deflected away by Ali Vizenko, the 5'7" junior defender from Harrison Township, Michigan. Into the box now. Young chases after it, but Zoe Reed swallows it up before the Bobcats can get anything going.
And something that I think Aaron Rodgers plays very well is when he makes those substitutions, he's putting girls that he know are going to charge the ball. Maddie Young, who is so amazing offensively, charges every ball, especially making that goalie even a little bit nervous, because sometimes with that pressure, the ball can be fumbled and anything can happen. And if you want to have someone up there, I think Maddie Young is the one to go to.
In Ohio, putting a lot more pressure on Central Michigan, and they've been a lot more aggressive here in the first half, which was going to be a key for Ohio this afternoon. They had 3 shots total in the first half in their last match against Buffalo. 3 shots on goal already against these Chippewas, putting pressure on Zoe Reed, one of the better goalkeepers in the Mid-American Conference. There's a goal kick now for Sydney Malim.
And a lot of balls won out of the air from Ohio. They are really looking to get that first touch off the jump.
Malim was pressured there by number 17 for the Chippewas, Riley Mann. Malim booted out of bounds. A throw in now for the Chippewas, Maria Kashchuk. Kashchuk will throw in. Here's Bringer. Bringer tries to fire with the left foot, deflected by Molesky.
And Molesky again working both ends of this field, scoring offensively and getting a really good stop here on defense.
Maddie Young to Townsend, right side. It's one-on-one here, right side of the box. And Zoe Reed boots it away with the left foot, but right there to recover for Ohio, Tristan Whalen. Whalen with the left foot enters to the box, but it's deflected away by the Chippewas. Natalie Belcito got a foot on it.
And again, Tristan Whalen, one of those elite substitutions that Aaron Rodgers kind of has hidden under his belt here.
Sensky, center left side. Bit of miscommunication there as Kashchuk collects for the Chippewas. Heather Mcguire to Molesky. Back to Mcguire. Here's Leckie, and they say out of bounds on Ohio. Substitution for the Chippewas, replacing number 8, Katie Coleman.
Chesney Wargo into the game for the first time.
Will be number 25, Chesney Wargo, a 5'3" sophomore midfielder from Aurora, Illinois. Her 10th appearance of the season.
And both teams making a lot of subs here in the first half, trying to see if either team can kind of outshine the other in just the very small chances that they have.
15:05 left to go, first half. Ohio 1, Central Michigan 1. In a game with very big implications for the MAC standings, the Chippewas and Bobcats separated by 5 points between the 3rd and the 7th spot. Now Bringert on the attack for the Chippewas, tries to get it with the right foot, but couldn't get a full foot, was deflected by Santa Catarina. And Samantha, every time Bringert has the ball inside the 18-yard box, at least 2 or 3 Bobcats are there to greet her. Just goes to show you how good of a threat Bringert is on offense.
Yeah, she's a name that we've said here a bunch, and I think in the second half it's going to be a lot of the same thing.
And Olivia Page, another freshman who's made a big impact this year. 2 goals in 14 games, has only started 1 game, but has been a premier threat off the bench for Ohio. One-on-one now, Sensky sends it now back to the Chippewas. Here's Riley Mann to Bringert.
And Breeden was a little slow on that one getting up. She's not usually one to go down without getting back up right away. So I think this Chippewa team is being maybe a little too aggressive off ball.
Kaschuk to Bringard. Bringard fires a long shot with the right foot, saved by Malim. A deep shot there from Merle Bringard. Certainly not afraid to shoot. Put a good boot to it with the right foot there, but Malim was there to collect it.
Yeah, and that's another reason that Cindy Malim, her freshman year, got a MAC Defensive Player of the Week. Just shows how well she works with those hands and how easily she lets the ball get into her hands.
For Ohio, it's Breeden. Molesky tripped over the ball there, lost control. Now to Bringard. DeBow. Kaschuk. Dispossessed by Sensky. Lecky. Townsend. Now to midfield. Here's the freshman, Olivia Page. And Page, miscommunication there on the pass, picked up by the Chippewas. Riley Mann now in the left corner. And an offside call against Central Michigan will be on Riley Mann, the 5'4" redshirt sophomore. Possession back to Ohio with 12:13 left in the first half.
But like you mentioned here, the subs that we have going on, just how vocal this Ohio team has been, especially coming from the freshman. You saw here Olivia Page kind of screaming for the ball, shows how well she can rely on her teammates to get her that.
Page lost it. Back to the Chippewas. Here's DeBow. DeBow now outside the 18-yard box. And it's sent away by Heather Mcguire. The 5'3" freshman defender stops the Chippewa attack. It'll be a throw-in for Central Michigan in the right corner.
And Sensky, who's kind of been one of the defensive blocks that Aaron Rodgers has thrown back there in defense, she is just absolutely great back there. She plays the player, not the ball, which I think is a very important thing in soccer, especially on defense, to not try and stab at that ball to steal it away, but contain the player. And you see here a perfect example of how she does that. Another reason she was named All-MAC on the freshman team.
Page now left side. This ball booted out of bounds. Amanda Britton and Abby Townsend were fighting for possession. And Abby Townsend just uses her quickness to her advantage. Always one of the quickest players on the field. And the one thing about Townsend, she never gives up on the play. Is always pestering opposing teams. And is second on the Bobcats this year in points as well, trailing only Molesky. Molesky and Townsend certainly have a great connection on the field.
And having that speed usually comes with a lot of goal scoring, but something that's so unique about Abby is that she has 8 assists, like we've said before, so she shares the ball, something that I think Aaron Rodgers really liked when recruiting her.
A lot of unselfishness on this Ohio Bobcat team as well. No egos put forth over the team. Here's Townsend, now enters in the 18-yard box. It's picked up by Maddie Young, couldn't quite handle it. Now to Lecky, tries to enter back in, but it's sent away by Amanda Britton, as Maddie Young wasn't quite able to get a hold of the ball there with her right foot.
And it almost looked like she thought Olivia Page had that opportunity, so a little bit tripped up there.
There's Breeden for Ohio. Clears it back to Malim, who boots it down the field with the right foot. Under 10 minutes to go here in the first half. Score still knotted up at 1-1. Olivia Molesky, the goal for Ohio. Lauren DeBow, the score for Central Michigan. Molesky.
Looks like a different Central Michigan team these past 10 minutes. We had mentioned in those first few minutes how they were kind of laid back a little bit, straight on, especially on offense. And I think after that goal kind of gave them a little bit of a rebound that they had after that very early goal there in the first.
Woke them up a little bit, no question.
Exactly.
As Breeden able to dispossess one of the Chippewas, number 25, Chisney Wargo. Now Maddie Young has it for Ohio. Breeden. Now Bringard for the Chippewas. Kaschuk enters into the 18-yard box, and it's headed away. A deflection in the 6-yard box there between Breeden and DeBow, and an infraction called against the Chippewas.
And I think that was a great call. I think some of them should have been called earlier, but I'm glad the ref is seeing this, even though it was a fair ball in the air, and I don't really think DeBow is coming out here for maybe some blood, but here that was a very fair shot, but it was a great call by the ref.
Samantha K. Torrell now in the game for Central Michigan as well, a Palomar College transfer. As with 8 minutes left, both teams looking to go ahead here entering the halftime break. As a substitution now for Ohio, it'll be Olivia Darrow back in. And Constantina Gianu, the 5'7" junior midfielder from Riza, Greece. As now they tried to lead Maddie Young on the right side of the 18-yard box, but Zoe Reed able to pick it up.
And again, Maddie Young there chasing the ball 1 second too soon, and I think she would have had a touch on the ball. But another reason that Zoe Reed leads this MAC and those goal-stopping points.
Heather Mcguire. Mcguire racing down the left side. Try to get it to Gianu, taken away by Bringard. Kay Torrell. Torrell sets up on the right side. Kaschuk.
Looks like the sun's coming out a little bit here on the field. Not a very advantage for either team. Looks like the sun's kind of hitting both goalies in the eyes, so no real advantage there for either team.
And some pushing and shoving here between Abby Townsend and Amanda Britton. Both players pulled each other to the ground, forces the ref to blow the whistle. And they say the infraction goes against the Bobcats. Possession Chippewas with 6.5 minutes to go.
And Abby usually isn't the player that's getting those calls or even the more aggressive ones, so you can tell that they're getting in her head here.
It's Olivia Page. Well, tipped up in the air, fought for just outside the 18-yard box. Both teams still looking for possession. Well, still scrapping for the ball. There was Riley Mann. Into the corner, Kaschuk. Now into the box, here's Bringard. The header is in, but they say offside against Bringard. Didn't look that close either. Looked like Bringard was well behind the Ohio defense. And possession goes back to the Bobcats. Goal kick now for Sydney Malim.
And that was a great job by the Ohio defense to read that she had been that far up. That's something that not a lot of teams can do, and especially that goes with a lot of trust on the goalkeeper, knowing that if the ball were to go behind, that she could get there. So that's just a great teamwork by the Bobcats here.
Riley Mann tries to head it forward to Kate Torrell. It's kicked away by Sensky. Five minutes left, first half, still tied at 1. It was a header by Molesky, and they say infraction against the Chippewas. And that goes against number 19, Hammy Taylor, the 5'5" freshman midfielder from Stafford, Virginia.
Another reason I think Ohio has had so much success in possession and pass accuracy is the spacing. Something that I mentioned in the pregame show is having that shape is really going to be helpful in making those square passes and always having an option trying to get those passes off between 1 and 2 touches.
Townsend tries to enter to Gianu, and it's gobbled up by Zoe Reed. Molesky heads it forward to Townsend, as Molesky and Bringard have been battling now for about the last 5 minutes. Very physical match here early on. Darrow will throw in.
And I think a lot of times, especially for the Bobcats, they feed off that aggressive energy, making them kind of hungrier for the ball and winning those 50-50 balls just to show the dominance and the physicality that they're willing to go for to win the ball.
Riley Mann tries to cross, but it's deflected by Victoria Breeden, the captain of this Ohio defense, as a corner coming up for the Chippewas. This will be their first corner of the afternoon with 3:27 left to go here in the first half. Maria Kaschuk will take the corner, raises her right arm, readies herself for the kick. Kaschuk sends it away with the right foot. And they try to boot it away, couldn't quite handle it. Now back into the box, and it's picked up by Sydney Malim.
Didn't look like a shot on goal, maybe looking for someone that was in the box, but again, Ohio playing a very high-up defense, which I think is great, especially for this Central Michigan team who does have their offense pretty high up, leaning up against this Ohio defense, and that was just another great read by the defense.
Looked like Cammie Taylor tried to attempt the shot or pass there, but couldn't quite get her foot on it, looked off balance. As the attack falls short, Bobcats now with possession, Olivia Darrow. And Tristan Whalen fights for it. Possession back to the Chippewas. Chesney Wargo will throw in.
And it almost looks like in this second half of the first half here that it almost looked like a flip game. We saw a lot in the first couple minutes how Ohio was on their offensive side, and the Chippewas were making very limited runs on their offense, and it looks here like Ohio hasn't really had too many opportunities on offense, although leading the possession percentage.
Heather Mcguire now at midfield on the attack, tries to get it to Maddie Young. Zoe Reed is running up, and a deflection between Young and Reed there. Now Mcguire fighting for it. Reed was just barely able to beat Young to the ball there. A scary fall there for the Ohio freshman, who has been dealing with a knee ailment, as Ohio nearly able to take the lead there. Young back with it now at midfield.
And she has been wearing a knee brace in practice in previous games, but here you see that she is not wearing it. Maybe it has been lowering her speed a little bit, and that's something that she feeds off of. So I think maybe it was just a team call here, and she's taken one for the team to try and boost herself a little bit more.
And Young tries to get the header to Olivia Page, a little too far, as Reed boots it down the field with her right foot. 1 minute remaining in the first half. Chippewas and Bobcats still tied at 1 in what's been a very evenly matched game to this point. Now in the right corner, Tristan Whalen. Whalen now throwing in. There's Townsend. Townsend to the middle of the field, enters with the left foot. Gianu, left side of the 18-yard box. Mcguire. Mcguire tried to get it to Page. It's sent away by Amanda Britton.
And Molesky, who has kind of been dominating that middle section, winning almost every 50-50 ball here in this neutral zone.
Clock winds down. Breeden boots it down the field. One last effort. And that will take us to the end of the first half in what's been a very evenly matched contest thus far. The Central Michigan Chippewas and the Ohio Bobcats tied at 1-1 after 45 minutes. Samantha, what have been some of the biggest things that have stood out to you for both teams in the first 45 minutes of play?
I think something for Ohio is that we have always noticed that they have been a second-half team. In the first half, as fans and as spectators, kind of just waiting to see how well Ohio's defense can play up. But I think in this first half, with this line change, coming out with a way more aggressive energy, I think that's something that they need to start doing more in further games, especially coming off with a goal in the first few minutes, I think was very important for them.
We'll go to the halftime break. After 45 minutes of play, our score, the Ohio Bobcats 1, the Central Michigan Chippewas 1.
I'm a little loud.
Right on. Thank you. That works. And welcome back to Chessa Field in what's been a very evenly matched contest thus far between the Ohio Bobcats and the Central Michigan Chippewas. Brandon Monty back with you alongside Samantha Garcia. And Samantha, Bobcats entered this game really with a must-win against the Chippewas team, third in the MAC, Ohio seventh. And thus far, just about everything between these two teams has been very even. Shots, corners, saves, fouls, and goals.
And I think just from the second half stats that we're looking at, I think Aaron Rodgers and this whole entire Ohio Bobcats team should be happy for the way this is coming out. Coming off some pretty rough games, especially at home. I think Ohio needs this. Coming against a Central Michigan team that is 7-2 is something that a lot of teams would be kind of frightful of, and especially having their goalie being the #1 in the MAC, like we have said so many times, and all those save percentages did not affect the Bobcats. And I think when they started off this season on that 5-0 run, they are playing their game, playing how they know how to play, and I think they're starting to regain that confidence and knowing that this is still soccer. At the end of the day, doesn't matter the score, you come out and you play your game, and I think in that first half we saw that a lot. Olivia Molesky getting the first goal within the first minute and 7 seconds with an assist from Olivia Sensky and Sydney Leckie. And might I mention, again, Olivia Sensky marked in as a defender, getting an assist on offense. Ohio has that versatility on both ends, and I think they're using it here pretty well.
Yeah, the Bobcats certainly were not frightened of the Central Michigan defense. Just 1 minute into the match, Olivia Molesky finding the back of the net for her 7th goal of the season, now top 3 in the Mid-American Conference in that category. But the more impressive thing, well, both very impressive. The pass from Olivia Sensky led Molesky right to the spot in the middle of the 6-yard box. It was a fantastic diving header from Molesky as well to put the Bobcats ahead early, but Central Michigan did not go away. Perhaps that early goal woke them up a bit as Lauren DeBow found the back of the net in the 15th minute to tie this one up. And for the last 30 minutes, it's been 1-1. As we enter the second half, a 1-1 game between the Bobcats and the Chippewas. Ohio, as we mentioned, has been known for being a second-half team this season. Entering today's match, of the 25 goals the Bobcats had scored on the year, 17 of them had come in the second half. And last game against Buffalo, Bobcats were a lot more aggressive in the second half. 14 of their 17 shots and 6 of their 7 corners came in the last 45 minutes of the match. Just about ready to return to soccer here on what's been a beautiful Friday afternoon in Athens here at Chessa Field. Temperatures in the low 60s, partly cloudy skies. It's been a beautiful day for some soccer as the Bobcats look to steal a victory from Central Michigan and climb up in the MAC standings. Ohio enters today's match 2 points behind 6th place Buffalo and 3 points behind Kent State and Western Michigan, who are tied for 4th in the Mid-American Conference. First touch will be for Central Michigan, and Lauren DeBow, who, as mentioned, has scored the only goal of the match for the Chippewas, and the second half is underway. Chippewas moving from right to left, Bobcats left to right.
And it looks like both teams are coming out with the starters that they had at the beginning of the game. And I think Aaron Rodgers knew that that team that he had starting off is something electric. And maybe they can get another goal here early on.
And Sydney Leckie picks things up for Ohio. Now to Olivia Molesky. And Molesky boots it back into the Ohio 18-yard box with Breeden. It's Kalika. Kalika battling for possession and taken away by Central Michigan. For Ohio, Paige Knorr. Knorr works away up the left side, tries to lead Townsend, but a little too far as it's now to Belcito, but she boots it out of bounds. Bobcat possession as now the Athens faithful emerge with "Let's go Bobcats" chants as they try to get behind Ohio. Kalika has space, now to Molesky. Molesky works her way into the box, sliding shot, enters to Deering. It's in the back of the net in the left corner, and the Bobcats take the lead.
And like I said, Monty, Ohio, this starting offense is something very electric. You can see here just the passing and the quickness on the feet, sliding that ball, keeping the ball on the grass, which is something that not a lot of teams can do. Again, scoring within the first minute to 2 minutes here, something that Ohio has not done recently, and to do it not only once but twice is something successful. And I think Aaron Rodgers right now is writing down the starting lineup that he has here and is kind of like, hey, I'm going to keep these girls out there for a little bit. Great work by the Bobcats.
Olivia Molesky has one goal this afternoon and now has an assist as well, and a beautiful sliding pass to Serena Deering, the 5'6" junior midfielder who picks up her second goal of the season, and the Bobcats now lead 2-1. And now they're back on the attack. Here's Abby Townsend. Townsend attacking, but Central Michigan able to boot it away. Marina Kaschuk clears.
And I think Deering really needed that goal. She's played in 14 games and only has recorded one goal before this, putting up 13 shots. So you know that she is a very accurate player, especially when it comes to goal shooting. But what a great pass there by Molesky. Another reason why she's one of the most important players that Aaron Rodgers has in his pocket.
Molesky was under a lot of pressure from Amanda Britton, the defender for Central Michigan, was able to make the pass despite falling down. Was able to lead Deering beautifully for a bump into the back left corner of the net. This is just the second time this season that Central Michigan has allowed more than one goal in a match. The only other time was against Bowling Green back on October 10th in a 3-2 loss. But the Ohio offense has woken up this afternoon.
And Zoe Reed here, like we have mentioned so many times, 5 shutouts in one season, which is something that most goalies dream of. You don't really even see that at the high school level just because of how offensively great all of these teams are, especially in this MAC. But you can see here Zoe Reed giving up 2 goals here against Ohio. She only had 8 coming in before this, so that's about 1/4 of her goals that she's allowed this season coming just from one day against the Bobcats. I think they're just really getting in her head tonight here, Brandon.
The Bobcats had just 2 goals in their last 3 games prior to this match, but they've already got 2, and they've scored them both just 1 minute into the start of each half. They're now up 2-1. They're back on the attack with Townsend. It's Paige Knorr. Lost it out of bounds. Possession, Central Michigan. Samantha K. Toro will throw in. .41-35 left to go. 2-1 Ohio. Both teams with 4 shots on goal thus far. And as you mentioned, Samantha, an uncharacteristic afternoon for Zoe Reed, who has been arguably the best, if not the best, goalkeeper in the Mid-American Conference all season. Entered this match leading the conference in saves, save percentage, and goals allowed, but has had a tough time this afternoon, and so has the entire Central Michigan defense.
And I think just numbers sometimes scare players, especially leading in all aspects of the stats. A lot of teams feel like they need to get closer to shoot, and that's something that Central Michigan feeds off of because of how well their defense is, relying on offensively driven teams to try and get closer in the box to score is something that Ohio is not doing. So I think it's throwing them off a little bit.
Here's Townsend. Tries to enter Teleki and Dagardas, and it's kicked out of bounds by number 26 for Central Michigan, 28, excuse me, Ali Vizenko. It's Townsend. Teleki enters into the box. Header from Molesky is deflected out of bounds. If they say corner for Ohio, as it's deflected off the defense off of number 22, Natalie Belcito, and a corner coming up for Ohio, their 3rd of the afternoon.
Yeah, it looked almost like a replay that we had in the first half. Molesky with another diving header on goal.
Abby Townsend will be the kicker for the corner. Measures the kick, raises her left arm, boots it away, and it's just to the left of the post, out of bounds. Goal kick now for Central Michigan.
Across the touchline, so goal kick, Central Michigan.
Ohio already with one goal this afternoon off a corner. It was their first goal off a corner all season. And Zoe Reed boots the goal kick away for the Chippewas.
And something you see here in the Chippewa defense, they almost look flat on that goal kick. You saw all three defenders standing within 5 feet of each other in a complete straight line is not something that they want to have. And I think during film, they might bring up that actual play to show they really need to spread out, especially with this Ohio team that really knows how to switch the field.
Central Michigan throws in, and Molesky heads the ball off Bringard out of bounds. Possession back to Ohio. Good heads-up play by the senior midfielder. There's Lecky, now to Santa Catarina. And Sensky. Sensky, a 2018 All-MAC freshman team member, the 5'10 sophomore defender. Started all games for Ohio this year.
And although this is Central Michigan, they have a great start to their season, only having 2 losses and 2 ties. With this year being their head coach's first year here, they also have a lot of transfers like we had been talking about in the pregame show. They have a lot of transfers. Samantha K. Toro from Palmer College all the way in California. She was a candidate for Player of the Year, a 2-time MVP, had 2 goals and 9 assists, so you know that she is a great player. But here, the Bobcats are just completely eating her up here. She has no room to do anything.
We saw a very physical first half between these two teams. See, Ohio caught the Chippewas off guard with that goal in the first minute. But as the first half progressed, we saw a lot of pushing and shoving, a lot of players being thrown to the ground, and not a lot of foul calls either. As we mentioned in the first half as well, the refs are really letting both teams play. As now Ohio back in the attack, and offside is called against Abby Townsend. The second offside call of the afternoon for Ohio. And goal kick coming up for Central Michigan.
And Olivia Molesky with another header. Brandon, I think we need to make a chart to diagram how many headers Olivia Molesky has had here, winning all these 50-50 balls. Just a great defensive effort here by her.
Molesky has been very important on both sides of the ball. Steps in wherever she's needed. Is now Central Michigan has possession. Now back to Ohio with Paige Knorr. And going back to Molesky, what a game she has had on both sides of the ball this afternoon. On offense, has a goal and an assist, and on defense, has made a lot of timely plays, and like you said, a lot of headers to disrupt Central Michigan. As now they have possession. Here's DeBow. The shot is deflected by Paige Knorr. Now a left-footed shot is wide left for Central Michigan. That was Cammie Taylor, the 5'5 freshman midfielder. Trying to get a boot on it, but sailed too far to the left. Goal kick now for the Bobcats.
And although we are a Bobcat-based team, it's really hard to talk about anyone else when you have such a dynamic group of girls that you can really bring out in all these games.
Santa Catarina and a Dagardas. And Dagardas, a tough sliding tackle there. And now the ref speaking to Dagardas about that one. As the physical play continues, another ref explaining to Dagardas about that past play. As the possession goes to Ohio, it'll be an infraction against the Chippewas.
And up here, it looked like Dagardas had slid into her. Although we did not see the full play, it looked like a 50-50 ball.
Looked like a clean slide tackle on Dagardas' part as Malim clears for Ohio. Here's Cammie Taylor, dispossessed by Dierig, and an infraction called against the Bobcats, much to the dismay of this crowd as they are letting the referee hear it.
Yeah, and both teams kind of having words with the refs, maybe not aggressively, but just wondering what's kind of going on in his head and how he's going to be calling these infractions and what limits he's setting for them.
And both teams have appeared visibly frustrated with the refs all afternoon as Kaschuk enters into the box, but it's quickly gobbled up by Sydney Malim. Good heads-up play by the junior goalkeeper, and she'll boot it away.
And Bringer there looked like she was going to get a header or even a touch off her head if Malim didn't get that one. So that was a great heads-up play by the goalie.
Townsend with it now in the center circle. Is to get it to Molesky. It's picked up by Central Michigan, Belcito. And now Zoe Reed boots it down the field. Here's Bringard. And an infraction once again called against Ohio. Free kick for the Chippewas as Maria Kaschuk will do the honors.
Aaron Rodgers on the sideline pacing back and forth, kind of throwing his hands up, wondering where the ref is kind of seeing these penalties come from.
Rodgers is irate. So in that way with the refs as now Kaschuk enters into the box, and once again Sydney Malim is able to corral it, stops the Chippewa attack.
And just comparing goalies, both goalies allowed one goal in that first half, and both had 3 amazing saves. So if you take away the numbers, these goalies look evenly matched to me.
For Central Michigan, is Chesney Wargo out of Ohio. It's Townsend to Deering. Doggerhouse tries to get ahead on it. It was out of bounds. Last touch, Central Michigan.
And it's a 2-1 lead for the Bobcats with about 33 minutes left. And I don't think this was a score that anyone really was looking for, looking at these pregame stats and having this dynamic goalie here.
Entry pass headed away is now Kalika to Santa Catarina. Going to get it to Lecky, let her a bit too far. Zoe Reed collects it, and going off what you said, Samantha, for an Ohio offense that have been struggling in its last 3 contests, for as good of a defense as Central Michigan has, you said I don't think anyone was expecting 3 goals, as now Bringard has it for Central Michigan. It's booted away, though, by Paige Knorr. Throw in now for the Chippewas. Ohio has looked much more aggressive this time out on the offensive side. Scored both their goals in the first minute and a half of the first and second half. They've put their pedal to the metal out of these intermissions.
And you can see that Ohio really knows that they have a 2-1 lead now. You can see on that throw-in that Abby Townsend was the only girl that was up in front of the half line.
Now Central Michigan in the box, but good defense by Sensky to stop the attack. Samantha K. Torrell was winding up to take a shot with her right foot, but Sensky stepped in and disrupted the play. Corner kick coming up for Central Michigan, their second of the afternoon. Maria Kaschuk will take it. Raises her right arm. Readies herself. Boots it away with the right foot. And it is shot by Kate Toro, but deflected by the Bobcats. Now another attempt, and once again it's sent away. Cammie Taylor tried to get a shot, but good defense by Ohio to pack the box and disrupt the attack. And goal kick now coming up for Ohio. Another fantastic defensive stand for the Bobcats. .53 left to go in this contest. Ohio 2, Central Michigan 1. With a victory, Ohio could put themselves as high as 4th in the Mid-American Conference standings. A lot of MAC soccer action going on this weekend. With just a little under 2 weeks left in the regular season, every game is key for Ohio at this point. This would be a big win against a third-place Chippewa team. Chesney Wargo Wargo, pestered by Dagardas. Now back to Wargo. Wargo enters. Headed away by Senski. Now Central Michigan back into the box. Headed away by Breeden. Good defensive work there by Breeden and Senski, the senior and sophomore defenders. It's a throw-in coming up for Central Michigan with 25:43 left in the match.
And Breeden and Senski are those girls that they do not care about their own safety going up against those balls. Some of those I wouldn't even test myself.
There's Maddie West. Tries to get the header. And it's sent away by Kalika. Defensive clinic here in these sequences for Ohio. There's Dagardas.
And it looks
And
like
it appears a Central Michigan player, as I think you were about to mention, Samantha, is down holding her right arm. As now Dagardas fighting with number 25, Chesney Wargo, and now Wargo steps over Dagardas. The physical match continues now. They're chirping with one another as this match is starting to get a little testy on both sides.
I think she tried to pull one of that Allen Iverson iconic step over there. Wrong sport, but it was close.
Yeah, I don't think a step over normally has very positive implications, as the refs blow the whistle and they'll attend to the injured player for Central Michigan, and it would be a key injury for the Chippewas. It's number 13, Lauren DeBow, who has their only goal on the afternoon, and one forward subs in for another. Jeremy Groves makes a change. Riley Mann is back into the match for the Chippewas.
And I didn't see if there was a clear injury. Nothing too bad that we saw coming from a Bobcat, but all hopeful news for her and hope that she gets a clear recovery.
Her head was down. She appeared to be holding her right arm. As now Bobcats on the attack. Dagardas to Dierig. Now to Townsend on the right side, just outside the box. Tries the entry pass, and it sails just over the net. As goal kick now for Central Michigan. Good attempt by Townsend, but just a little too high up, sails out of bounds. And possession stalls for the Bobcats.
And Dierig has just had some amazing slides in the box to set up Abby and her teammates up there. She's having a great night here.
Central Michigan tries to muster up an offensive attack here with 27:45 left to go in the match. There's Molesky now at midfield for Ohio. And Molesky tripped up, and ref quick to blow his whistle there. Infraction against Cammie Taylor of Central Michigan. Another thing, we have not seen a lot of Elena Miyakova, who played sparingly in the first half, has not entered the match for Central Michigan here in the second half of play. Second on the team in goals. As now Olivia Senski boots the free kick for Ohio. Senski enters into the box, but just a little too far, and Zoe Reed collects it off the bounce.
And it looks like she was looking for the head of Molesky, maybe about a couple inches off, but I wouldn't be surprised if that one found the back of the net.
Molesky made two very big plays on the day. Very tough plays as well. A diving header just 1 minute and 7 seconds into the match to give the Bobcats a 1-0 advantage, and then a beautiful pass to Serena Dierig as she was falling over. As Molesky now has it for Ohio. And Molesky tripped up, and another infraction against Central Michigan, and Molesky slow to get up after that one. She has taken a beating this afternoon as she now talks with the head referee.
And I think it's time for the ref to start pulling out cards. Although he's calling the infractions, nothing that will hurt the girls with a card has been in place, and I think these Central Michigan Chippewas are just going to keep chipping at the Bobcats, if I may put it.
Oh, I see what you did. Abby Townsend now on the left side, and it's lost out of bounds. It was a good joke. I liked it.
Thank you. I tried.
Very witty, creative. But it has been a chippy match, to say the least, and I'm very surprised that there have not been any cards with all of the physical play and all the players who've been thrown to the ground. Obviously, a physical sport, but at some points, including some step overs, some throwdowns, it's been very testy throughout the entirety of this match. Here's Kalika to Deary in the center circle. Paige Knorr is to get to Lecky. Went a little too far, picked up by Britton as Lecky fights for it. Santa Catarina. Now to Knorr. Central Michigan's Cammie Taylor. Both teams fighting for possession. Now Central Michigan has here's Riley Mann. Mann works her way to the left corner. Kalika in pursuit. And Kalika able to get a foot on it. Boots it out of bounds. Corner coming up for Central Michigan, their third of the afternoon. Both teams now with 3 corners.
And with time winding down, I think the Bobcats know that they have a lead here, and Central Michigan can put the ball in the back of the net. So you see all the Bobcats slowly transitioning to the inside of that box, really trying to mark up everyone and take up as much space as they can. I think it's a great play by them.
Maria Kaschuk will once again kick the corner. Bobcats defense stuffs the 6-yard box. Kaschuk ready. Boots it away with her right foot. It's in the 6-yard box. The header is deflected by several players. Now a second shot deflected out of bounds. And referee says last touch by Ohio, as now a Bobcat is down. It appears to be number 23, Courtney Dagerdas.
Looks like a collision between one of the Chippewas. She has just been so aggressive here on defense, diving at every ball. Hopefully no serious injury, but she's really got to take care of herself here.
Dagerdas down, the 5'8" senior from Libertyville, Illinois. Started every game for Ohio this year, holding on to her knee, and we'll take a short break as the Bobcats attend to the injured player. Back with you at Chesa Field after Courtney Dagerdas attended to the injured Bobcat. Appears to be okay. She's helped off the field by some of the coaches and members of the training staff as another corner for Central Michigan coming up. 23:53 left to go in the match. Ohio leads 2-1 as the Bobcats making a substitution. Dagerdas now out. Heather Mcguire, number 9, checks into the game, the 5'3" freshman defender. Kaschuk will kick the corner. Raises her right arm, sends the kick away with her right foot. It's in the 6-yard box. It's headed out of bounds as Central Michigan tries to collect it off the header. Cannot do it. It's out of bounds. And a goal kick coming up for Ohio.
And again, those two subs that you see warming up, Maddie Young and Tristan Whalen, who were very dynamic here in that first half, might be coming back into the game here, and I think that's another smart move to kind of put the Central Michigan team back on their toes.
Once again, Rogers exploring his depth, using his very deep bench as Young and Whalen prepare to check into the game. They warm up on the sideline. Central Michigan on the attack. Maddie West boots into the box, but it's gobbled up by Malim. Maddie West in her 6th start of the year, trying to enter the pass to Marl Bringard, who has been held in check by this Ohio defense throughout the entirety of the match. Bringard has been the main offensive weapon for the Chippewas all season long, but has not been able to get anything going this game, as now Olivia Molesky whistled for an infraction, and she can't believe it. She looks at the ref here. Possession, Central Michigan free kick coming up.
And I think she had a word with the ref just because how many times she was thrown around here, especially in the second half, being pressed a little bit more. She's just trying to put back what she's getting in.
Number 16 for the Chippewas, Maria Kaschuk, will send the free kick. 22-10 left to go in the match. The kick is away into the 18-yard box, but it's headed away by Molesky. And another superb defensive play, and another header for that matter, for Olivia Molesky, who has been dominant really on both sides of the ball all afternoon. There's Maddie West for Central Michigan. Now inside to Riley Mann, back to West. West kick deflected by Leckie. Good defensive play there by Leckie to step in front of the shot. Here's Dierig. Santa Catarina. Kalika to Breeden. Now battles with Riley Mann, and Breeden wins possession. And we see a lot of the members of the crowd telling the refs to call it both ways. This Athens faithful are very frustrated at the officiating as substitutions coming in for Ohio. It'll be Maddie Young and Tristan Whalen replacing Serena Dierig and Paige Knorr as Aaron Rodgers looks to put fresh legs out for the Bobcats.
And another thing with this switch and adding onto that lineup, it's Abby Townsend, Maddie Young, and Tristan Whalen. All freshmen, can I put that out there too, that he relies on, especially with how well this team plays here. You know that he can rely on 3 young girls to really run that up front.
Here's Whalen now for the pass from Young. Leads Leckie a little too far. Here's Amanda Britton. Now Molesky, Santa Catarina. Kalika moots it down the field. Clears to goalkeeper Zoe Reed. 20 minutes left on the clock as now cheers emerge from the Bobcat faithful as they are on their feet looking for a victory for Ohio, as again Molesky pushed to the ground, and this time she is down and again slow to get up.
Yeah, I just think she's been kind of tossed around here for a while. Although most of these balls are 50-50, we haven't seen any very clear distinctions of pushing in the back or any slide. Although Central Michigan might be a little bit more aggressive, she's just been thrown around here. But she has a goal and assist, so when she gets home and she's icing herself, she can still look at that stat and be okay.
Molesky showing the toughness, able to run it off. He's played one heck of a game this afternoon. When she heads it now, cleared out to Kalika. Kalika to Whalen. Whalen right side, looks to cross. Whalen crosses into the box, just over the head of Maddie Young. A great cross by Whalen as it clears out Santa Catarina. Molesky with the left foot fires a long shot, but it's swallowed up by Zoe Reed. Long shot there from Molesky with her left foot. Good attempt, but Reed was up to the task of stopping it.
Yeah, and that heel touch by Sydney Leckie, just with the back of her heel passing that out. What a great pass that was there.
18:22 to go. 2-1 Ohio. Central Michigan has not found the net since the 15th minute of this one. Bobcats struck first in the second half, just 1 minute in from Serena Dierig. Here's Maddie Young. Young is being shoved around by 2 Chippewas, now able to get it to Kalika.
And she somehow managed to come out with the ball on that one.
Both teams continue to play physically. Obviously, Central Michigan running out of time to try to tie this one, starting to amp up the pressure. Here's Mcguire. Heather Mcguire tries to get it to Leckie, and unsuccessful.
And I don't know if we mentioned it, but Dubois for Central Michigan has re-entered the game, so it looks like the injury that had happened was solved, and she's healthy because she's back out here playing at her best.
Certainly great to have her back in the game for Central Michigan. She has Central Michigan's only goal of the afternoon thus far, and is now tied for second on the team in that category as Jill Sutherland makes her first appearance of the afternoon. The freshman 5'10" defender from Toronto enters the match. For Ohio, Santa Catarina. Lose control, now Central Michigan. Try to get it to Bringard, and it's sent away by Breeden, picked up by Sensky. Central Michigan to Dubois. Now on the right side of the box. Tries to shake off Sensky, but good defensive work there by Sensky, but they say out of bounds. Corner coming up for Central Michigan, their fourth of the match. And Olivia Sensky has been a dominating presence here in the second half for Ohio on defense. She's done a great job of disrupting each attack for Central Michigan, as now we await the corner from Maria Kaschuk. Kick is away in the 18-yard box, headed away by Molesky, and then again by Townsend. Ohio now on the attack. Here's Maddie Young. Gets it to the middle of the field with Abby Townsend. Townsend now left side. Works her way into the box, is pulled down, and no call from the referee, and this crowd can't believe it.
Even from up here, it looked like she had pulled her in the back down there. Too bad we don't have instant replay here. The coaches could even charge that one, but that one, I don't know.
Townsend looked to go left on Natalie Belcito. Both players were forced to the ground, but no call. And that's been the theme of the afternoon. A lot of physical play, and the refs letting them play. 15-15 to go in the match. 2-1 Ohio. As Heather Mcguire throws in. Santa Catarina. Back to Mcguire. Nearly intercepted by number 16, Maria Kaschuk, out of bounds.
Coming back into the game for Central Michigan.
For the first time in the second half, and returning for the first time since early in the first half for Central Michigan, is Elena Myakova, the Russian junior defender.
And maybe it was a tactic by the coach to maybe keep her out for a little bit and get some fresh legs.
Kick booted out of bounds by Natalie Belcito as the crowd oozed there, nearly took out a golf cart driver across the street. Obviously, the road very close to the stadium can be a little dangerous for some of these soccer games. Got to watch out for those errant kicks.
And you see right away Myakova up on Lesky, kind of shoving her in the back, making her really work for it, because you could just see how well she has played with Molesky and just giving her some really great balls.
Santa Catarina to Maddie Young, taken away by the Chippewas. Chippewas try to get up the field, intercepted by Breeden. Kalika. Molesky. Bobcats looking to slow things down here with 13.5 minutes to go, as Konstantina Gianu checked back in just a few minutes ago, fighting for possession with Myakova. So throw in now for the Bobcats and Heather Mcguire.
And another thing you see about Breeden is just when she has two players coming towards her, she still can play very calm and collective, not really kicking the ball out of bounds like a lot of defenders would. And I think that's what really separates her, especially being a D1 athlete.
Molesky fires a long shot, but it sails left wide of the post. Goal kick now for Central Michigan. And Molesky got a good boot on it, but still very far away from the net.
And I think Zoe Reed might have some nightmares tonight about the Bobcats, like we mentioned, getting 2 goals here. But again, she looked a little jumpy off that shot that was not on goal, but seeing that Abby Townsend was right there to get it maybe worried her a little bit.
Neither team really able to get a lot of offensive momentum going here in these last 10 minutes or so. Both teams' attacks have stalled out repeatedly. It was a defensive battle last year between these two squads, a 1-0 match in double overtime, as now an infraction called against Ohio on Abby Townsend. And again, this crowd expressing frustration, saying that they called that one, but not on Central Michigan. Free kick now for Zoe Reed, 11:52 to go in the match. Ohio leads 2-1.
And Natalie Belcito looks like she's up at the halfway mark, kind of defending Abby.
Central Michigan sending 9 attackers in, and a violation against Central Michigan.
I think that's kind of been the only call the refs and the crowd have agreed on here in the past couple minutes.
Olivia Sinsky sends the free kick. 11:20 to go. 2-1 Ohio in a match that's been very even. Both teams with 5 shots on goal, 3 corners, and an even shot total as well for both squads. The only thing that hasn't been different has been the goals, as substitution. Maria Kaschalk back into the game, and Elena Miakova subs out for Central Michigan.
There must be an injury or something going on there, because she has been someone that we thought would be a very important player here.
Townsend on the attack, middle of the field. Works her way over with her left foot. Now to Heather Mcguire. Mcguire now Constantina Gianu. Middle of the field, Molesky. Molesky tries to enter to Townsend. Gets it to her, left side of the 18-yard box. Townsend looks to cross with the left foot, but the pass is picked off by Amanda Britton.
Another thing that I think separates the Ohio defense versus Central Michigan defense is the fact you saw there Amanda Britton kind of clears the ball out when she didn't have anyone around her, and that's something that Ohio kind of feeds off of, that open space, because Britton and Sensky, you can see, are confident with bringing that ball up.
Sensky fights for it. Go back to Central Michigan. They try to enter into the box, but it's picked up by Malim. Under 10 to go. 2-1 Ohio. Morgan Colica with possession. Here's Breeden. Now Colica. Colica to Maddie Young. Young dispossessed by Sutherland, but Young able to get it back. Good resilience there by the freshman. DeBow, middle of the field, surrounded by Bobcats. Dribbles with her right foot, now tries to fire a shot, but it sails wide right of the post. Goal kick now for Ohio, as Lauren DeBow trying to force the issue there, smothered by 3 Bobcats, as the shot sails wide right.
And Brandon, to me, it looked like even 2 more Bobcats. That was kind of a 1v5, and she still had possession, even though the shot was a little bit off goal. She's a magician with her feet in that ball.
8:34 to go. Ohio taking its time. Up 2-1, looking to put the finishing touches on their 8th victory of the season. It's Constantina Gianu. Gianu now at midfield. Good dribble move there. Now enters to Abby Townsend, left corner. Townsend looking to cross. Sends it into the box, but it's deflected away by Central Michigan. As now Allie Miller, the senior defender for Ohio, enters into the game. It's Central Michigan now with possession, throw-in.
And again, Konstantina Giannou is another one of those players who has played in 12 games but started none of them, but plays such an important role, and I think it's another one of those gems that Aaron Rodgers has hidden.
Samantha K. Torrell enters the game for the Chippewas. There's Morgan Kalika. And ball is out. Tristan Whalen throws in for Ohio. And now a substitution, right as Whalen enters, is now Courtney Dagardas. It's an ovation from this Ohio crowd as she re-enters the game. To sit out a bit due to an injury she suffered earlier in the half. Tristan Whalen checks out.
And I think we can all take a breath up here. We know how important she is to this team, and she played an amazing game today, and they got to come back here on Sunday to play their senior day game, and I think we're all just relieved that she's back in here and as healthy as she can.
Infraction on Central Michigan, be a free kick for Ohio. Olivia Sensky will do the honors. Sensky, the 5'10 sophomore, readies. Measures the kick, raises her left arm. The kick is away, into the box, and it is picked up by Zoe Reed. She bobbled it a little there inside the 6-yard box, but was able to get both hands on it and corral it before the Bobcats could muster up an attack. Still a fantastic entry by Sensky, better goalkeeping by Reed.
Just a little bit more behind that, and I would have put that one on goal. That was a great pass/shot on goal for her.
5:50 to go. Crunch time here at Chesapeake Field in a game that's been evenly matched throughout. 2-1 Ohio. Central Michigan has been unable to muster up really any kind of offensive attack here in the second half of this one, as they're running out of time to do so. DeBow tries to enter to the right corner. Picked up by Sensky. There's Lecky. Central Michigan on the attack. Here's Cassidy Pettinger, but had it taken away by Giannou. 1-on-2 now for Abby Townsend. Townsend enters the 18-yard box, now to the middle of the field. Tries to get it to Maddie Young, but it's deflected. Now Molesky to Young. Right side of the 18-yard box. Young tries to cross, gobbled up by Zoe Reed.
And Central Michigan having a lot more players back, although they want to score. You saw how Abby had the opportunity for a one-on-one, but the Chippewas just came back to kind of stop her there.
And another fantastic defensive play by Konstantina Giannou, the 5'7 junior midfielder, with two fantastic defensive plays in her 13th game of the season. She's been a key contributor for the Bobcats off the bench. And Giannou really all over the place over these last 3 plays. Has stepped in and has been very aggressive for Ohio, intercepting the passing lanes for the Chippewas.
And I think just having such a strong group of seniors here, knowing that this is kind of the last weekend at Chesa, that these underclassmen have got to step up for next season. I think Konstantina's doing a perfect job executing. Why should she be playing these amount of minutes?
Under 4 to go. Bobcats lead 2-1. A victory would put the Bobcats in a 3-way tie for 4th place in the Mid-American Conference. Central Michigan currently tied for 2nd with Ball State as the MAC race continues to heat up. Giannou to Molesky. Townsend now in midfield. Dispossessed by the Chippewas.
And that was Amanda Britton giving Abby kind of a hard time here in the second half. She's been good at containing Abby.
As now Townsend pesters Britton there. Britton able to boot it out of bounds before Townsend can get an attack going. Now 3 minutes to go. Ohio throws in from the left side. Sydney Lecky will be the thrower.
And again, another clear by Central Michigan's defense. As we've said so many times, how well Ohio dominates that in the air ball, and they just got to put the ball on the ground and start making those passes, because that's what's going to be more accurate here for them.
Maddie Young deflects the pass. Now Townsend unable to corral it. Back to Central Michigan. Bringard to the right corner. Got sent away by Leckie. Bringard was looking for Samantha K. Torrell. Led her a little too far. Good defense by Leckie. Possession remains with Central Michigan now with 2 minutes to play. Sensky heads it away. The collision now outside of the box. Shot is away. One bounce, gobbled up by Malim.
And that was Dagerdas again getting in front of that ball. Looked like she kind of scared the Chippewas a little bit, charging her, knowing that she can steal that ball very quickly.
Under 2 minutes to play now. 2-1 Ohio. Central Michigan tries to muster up one last offensive attack to tie the match. Gianu. Sensky. Looks to go middle of the field. Collected by Natalie Belcito at midfield. Breeden can't quite corral the pass and just has to boot it out of bounds. Good recovery by Breeden to avoid the corner. It'll be a throw-in for the Chippewas. Under a minute. Now to go in the match. Corner kick for Central Michigan. Their 5th of this match. As Marina Kaschuk will take the corner. Goalkeeper Zoe Reed for Central Michigan now playing in the center circle. Kaschuk boots the corner. It's in the 6-yard box, and the header goes just wide right. Marl Bringard got a good piece of it, but just right of the post. Bobcats catch a break on a good attempt by the Chippewas. Goal kick now for Ohio with 20 seconds remaining.
And Bringard was so close there again. She's had some great shots on goal. Kind of been the main target that Ohio's been defending. She's had a great game here.
Under 10 to go. Central Michigan with one last chance. Shot headed away by Molesky. Kate Torrell tries one last attempt. It's no good, and the Ohio Bobcats steal one from the Central Michigan Chippewas by a final score of 2-1. A fantastic victory for the Ohio Bobcats. They bounce back from a 2-0 loss at Buffalo and take down a Central Michigan Chippewa team that entered today tied for 2nd in the Mid-American Conference.
And you see here, numbers don't really matter here for the Bobcats. Coming off those losses in the tie, like you mentioned before, they needed this win so badly, especially having to come back here again on Sunday for one last round here at Chesa against Eastern Michigan. I think Ohio played an amazing game today, Brandon. What do you think kind of sealed the deal here for the Bobcats?
Really the key, obviously, Olivia Molesky's play on both sides really gave it her all on both sides of the ball. 1 goal and 1 assist on the offensive end, and then on several instances stepped up to make several defensive plays and a lot of headers away to stop Central Michigan's attacks. And also Constantina Gianu off the bench for Ohio did a phenomenal job on defense as the Bobcats win 2-1. Ohio improves to 8-6-1 on the season, 3-3-1 in Mid-American Conference play. Central Michigan falls to 7-3-2 overall, 4-3 in MAC play. Once again, our final score from Chesafield here in Athens. The Ohio Bobcats a winner. They defeat the Central Michigan Chippewas 2-1. For Samantha Garcia, this has been Brandon Monty, and we thank you for tuning in to Ohio Soccer.